Shalom, shalom, and a grand evening to you. It is indeed a privilege and an honor to this evening to be on YouTube once again, and it's good to see you. It is good that you're here, that we can commune together and have fellowship with one another, and it is wonderful and marvelous in His sight. And so once again, I am glad to be with you on this evening. Um, we've missed a couple of evenings, a couple of Thursdays, and so but we're here today. And first things first, I want to do the prayer of forgiveness and repentance. I'm excited about tonight's lesson, and so let's get started. Let's do the prayer of forgiveness and repentance. You can repeat after me, or say it within your hearts. Okay? The prayer of forgiveness and repentance. Forgive me, Yahweh, for sins of commission, and forgive me, Yahweh, for sins of omission. Forgive me, Yahweh, for offending you with words, deeds, and in my thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, forgive me for offending anyone with my words, my deeds, and in my thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, I forgive those who have offended me with their words and their deeds. Abba, Yah, the great I am, I forgive myself for offending myself with words, deeds, and in my thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, forgive me for committing fornication with my words and my deeds and in my thoughts. Abba, Yah, the great I am, I repent for breaking any of your righteous laws in heaven, in the earth, and in my temple. Forgive me. And I choose to obey your righteous laws. And I appropriate the power of the stake and the shedding of your blood that wash my sins away, blot out my transgressions and my iniquities. Create in me a clean heart and renew a right spirit in me. Purge me, Yah, with hyssop. Wash me, I'm clean. I'm white as snow. And I take up my stake and I nail my flesh and sins to the stake. And I die to my flesh. Yahweh, you are exalted in my life this moment, right now. Hallelujah, Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. Hallelujah. Oh, bless the name of the Most High. Shalom, shalom, and grand evening to each and every one of you. And certainly I'm glad that you're here and with me on this evening. Like I said, that we were uh, traveling when we were unable to do the Thursday night coming on Thursday nights, and we missed a couple of Sabbaths, and so but we here, and I was having problems with my laptop, and I was blessed by a brand new laptop. Someone just a family just blessed me tremendously, and I'm eternally grateful with much great gratitude. And it just came out of nowhere, and I thank the Most High for that, and I thank Yahweh for you, for being in class, being in the class on tonight. We're going to discuss some things and get an opportunity. Just call somebody to let and share. Tonight, there is a disclaimer tonight. There is a disclaimer. And I want to say to you that in the disclaimer on tonight's lesson, there are going to be words that will be said. There will be words that will be said, and so and certainly in order to understand what the lesson is all about, I will say some words. Normally, it would be offensive to some and may not be to others. But just want you to know there's a disclaimer. If there are any children watching, it's not like they never heard these things, but I trust that I will connect the dots so that it will be very clear and concrete what I'm saying. And so it's a lesson that I have taught about. It's a lesson that I taught about 6 or 7 years ago, and so, but y'all gave me this lesson, and before I traveled here to Michigan, before I traveled here to Michigan, y'all said you're gonna speak on this lesson, and I said okay. And so, and I got here to Michigan, there were things, confirmation. There were confirmation that says, this is what I want you to do. Out of the mouth of two or three witnesses, every word is established. And so I was able to, there were three or four confirmations on this. And once I get into this lesson, you're going to understand. You're going to understand. And I know it's going to be challenging to some. Some will know whether or not they got some religion in them. And someone may look at me and say, oh, the rabbi, the apostle is saying that. But we're going to connect dots. We will connect dots on tonight. And as we connect dots, and we're going to make some sense of things that are happening, what Yah is doing right now, what Yahweh is doing right now. And so, so I just, like I said, there's this disclaimer, and there would be some words that are not offensive to you. There would be some words may be offensive to you. However, the set of words that will be said have the same implication, the same implication, and you will understand this. You will understand this very clearly, and so it's something that we must uh, share, and as we share it, and for those apostles and prophets and different ones who are in leadership, you can uh, you can build upon this foundation, and what Yahweh would give to you concerning it. And so I'm just going to we're going to get started, okay? We're going to get started. For those who are in the chat room, thank you, Prophet Howard, Apostle Guild, Aaron, and Apostle Guild is watching, and for those who will be sharing and what have you, waiting for me to get started. And again, I'm just kind of waiting for a few more because once I get into the teaching, once I get into the teaching, I may not say I have a disclaimer, but I want to let everybody know once again a disclaimer. And so I'm quite sure some eyes will be open and some eyes may not. But it's not surprising because everyone that's in the class tonight at some point either has a thought or you've said some things. Either you've thought some things or you've said some things, and even perhaps now that some of these things are there. So tonight I put out that the topic on tonight that I will be talking about is bywords. Bywords. Yes, bywords. And so we're going to connect some dots with bywords. And what are those things? What is a proverb? What are some things that taunting, and what have you? So we're going to talk about that. So I want to just kind of like just give a kind of like a definition, or something to give some foundation to it of a what a byword is, what a byword is, and so I want to talk about that. I want to give some kind of definition on it, like quick, and to define a word or phrase, a word or phrase associated with some person or thing, characteristic, expression, typical, greeting, or the like, or an object of general reproach or scorn. Okay, I'll say that again. It defames. It's about defames. A word or phrase. A word or phrase associated with some person or thing, characteristic or expression, typical greeting, or the like, an object of general reproach or scorn. Just to give you an idea, okay? Just to give you an idea. And so we're going to connect the dots because it's important to get this. It's very important to get this. Where bywords, where all this come from? How did it all get started? And what are bywords? What are bywords? I'm going to discuss it. But what I want to do, and let's get into the origin. So I want you to get your Bible. Everybody, I'm sorry. Trust me. Your your obedience is your worship. Your obedience is your worship. This is a practice lifestyle. It is a must. It is what we talk about, the laws, spirit and in truth. It is a lifestyle. It is. It is a lifestyle. And there's some things that as we get into this lesson, and we go back to ancient times, that we still deal with it today, but yet at the same time, is it lifted? Is this lifted? Okay? Is this lifted? And I say once again, there's that disclaimer. Here's a disclaimer that I want to put out, that you're going to hear words that pertain to this lesson that it may not. Some people say, I don't use those words, but you may use other words, and so therefore here's that disclaimer. Okay, you got to understand the apostle, the rabbi, is saying some things, and so we're going to give understanding to these bywords. I want you to turn to Deuteronomy. Okay, turn with me to Deuteronomy. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 28. It is a particular chapter that the first half of this particular chapter, from verse 1 all the way to verse 14. People don't get into this other part of chapter 28 of Deuteronomy, but most people only deal with verse 1 through 14. Yes, 1 through 14. That's what most people deal with. But from verse 15, from verse 14, all the way to verse 68. From verse 14 to 68, it deals with what? Cursing. There's blessings and there's cursing. Okay? There's blessings and there's cursing. So let me read Deuteronomy, the first and the second verse. The first and the second verse of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Okay? And so you can also read chapter 27 And it will surprise you of some of the things in that particular chapter. However, chapter 28, verse 1 and 2, and this is what it says. And it will be, if you will listen diligently to the voice of Yahweh your Father, by observing and doing all his laws, which I command you this day, that Yahweh your Father will set you above all nations on the earth as his kings and priests. Oh, that's awesome. Verse 2. And all these blessings will come upon you and accompany you because you obey Yahweh your Father. Blessings come because of your obedience. Yahweh do not bless a mess. You have to understand that. Yahweh do not bless a mess. Yahweh do not bless bad behavior. Yahweh bless obedience to what? To his word. However, and so we read on down. And I want to read verse 14 and going into 15. Okay? Oh, it's going to get very interesting here in a moment. It's going to get very, very, very interesting here in a moment. I promise you it will. Verse 14. For if you diligently observe and do all Yahweh's laws, that you will not turn aside from any of the laws which I command you this day, to the right hand nor to the left, by going after any gods else to serve them, to serve it. Verse 15. However, you hear that? However, if you do not obey Yahweh your Father, I'm going to repeat that again. If you do not obey your Father, Yahweh your Father, I'm going to read it the third time, a 3/4 chord that cannot be broken, because then that third time it's now established. However, if you do not obey Yahweh your Father, and do not carefully follow all his laws and his statutes, which I command you this day, then all these curses will come upon you and accompany you. Are you hearing that? I'm going to read the 15th verse again of Deuteronomy. However, if you do not obey Yahweh your Father, and do not carefully follow all his laws and his statutes, which I command you this day, then all these curses will come upon you and accompany you. Now you got from verse 16 all the way to verse 68 of Deuteronomy chapter 28. And it deals with the cursing. That's what it deals with. So it's a lot more at stake in disobedience. So I'm going to read the verse that I want to go to, because I want to establish that. I want to establish, because many people don't deal with the cursing and don't realize there are things that is knowingly and unknowingly when it comes down to Yahweh. Now, in the same chapter, I want to read verse 37. Okay? Verse 37. That's what I want to read. And this is what it said, verse 37. And you will become a thing of a horror and taunt, and the object of bitter, biting remarks among among all nations where Yahweh will drive you. Would you do that again? And you will become a thing of horror, a taunt, and the object of biting remarks among all nations where Yahweh will drive you. So you're going to be taunted, ugly remarks, which I read to you, bywords. Taunt, a remark made in order to anger, wound, provoke someone, to taunt. So in other words, you're going to become a byword. How is that? This now, see, when you're talking about a byword, so and the object of taunt and provoking and all those things, what's going to happen is people are going to hear about you before they even see you. They're going to know about you. In other words, your reputation will precede you. Your reputation or your name will precede you before anybody even see you. Bywords. Bywords. So how this is happening, that Yahweh said this is going to happen. Why? Because if you do not obey, verse 15, however, if you do not obey Yahweh your Father and do not carefully follow all his laws and statutes, which I command you this day, then all these curses will come upon you and accompany you. So the origin, so tonight I said we're going to talk about bywords. Bywords. So you understand this ain't just happened. We're talking about here in Deuteronomy chapter 28 when Yahweh said, listen, I want y'all to really hear me. People want to be blessed. People want the blessings to overtake them and accompany them. They do. However, at the same time, there is unknowingly disobedience. There are those who know better and don't do better. There are those who are born in it and don't know that they're doing this, but then yet there is no escape from it because it's disobedience. So he said these curses will come. And you're going to be an object of taunting, provoking, these bywords, these words that associate with a person, people, characteristic, expression, a greeting or the like, or object of general reproach or scorn. So so let's read some more. Let's read some more. Let's go to 1 King. 1 King chapter 9. 1 King chapter 9. Mm-hmm. 1 Kings chapter 9, and I'll start at verse 7. Let me start at verse 7, okay? Verse 7, I'm going to read to verse 9. Verse 7, 1 Kings chapter 9, verse 7. Then I will cut off Israel from the land I have given them, and this house which I have hallowed and sanctified for my name, I will cast out of my sight. Israel will then become the object of short, pointed sayings. You hear that? And an object of sarcasm and ridicule among all people. All people. What's going to happen? He said, because of what? Disobedience. Now, if I read verse 6, verse 6 above 7, and this is what it says. But if you and your son turn away from following me and will not keep my laws and my statute which I have set before you, but go off and serve hindered gods and worship them. Then verse 7 says, then I will cut off Israel from the land which I have given them, and this house which I have hallowed and sanctified for my name, I will cast out of my sight. Israel will then become the object of short, pointed sayings and an object of sarcasm and ridicule among all people. All people. Do you hear that? All people. Verse 8. Though this house is now exalted, all who pass by will be appalled, and will scoff and say, why has Yahweh done such a thing to this land and to this house? Why is Yahweh doing this? Verse 9, and they shall answer, because they forsook Yahweh, their father, who brought their fathers out of the land of Egypt, and have embraced hindered gods and have worshipped them and served them. Because of this, Yahweh said, I brought upon them all these disasters. By words. By words. Oh, we're going to get into the Bible. I'm just giving the scripture because we want to connect the dots to be concrete, clear about this even today. Is Yahweh doing something about this today? Are things changing today? Oh my, oh my. Okay, now let's go to 2 Chronicles. 2 Chronicles. Okay, let's go to 2 Chronicles chapter 7. All right. Now, I'm going to start off at one of the most famous scriptures that a lot of people quote but don't and misunderstand. But this is not the scripture, but I'm going to start at verse 14. 2 Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. Okay? And we're going to read on through, all the way through verse 20. Okay? That's what we're going to do. Verse 14, very famous. Listen to this. If my people, which are called with my name, will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then he said, then I himself will hear from heaven, and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. Yahweh got to hear from heaven. Where? In you. He got to hear that. He got to hear, he has to identify himself in you to dwell there. If my people, which are called with my name, will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, turn from their wicked ways, then he said, then I himself, not me, not you, he said, then I will hear from heaven and I will forgive their sins and heal their land. He said, I got to hear from heaven. Where? In you. In you. Okay, verse 15. Now, my eyes will be open and my ears will hear the prayers from this place. If you're righteous and clean on the inside, and everything, there's no wickedness there. His eyes will be open, his ears will be hear the prayers from where? This place. Verse 16. For now I have chosen and sanctified this house, so my name may be there forever. And my eyes and my heart will be there perpetually at the time of Yahweh's ordained weekly Sabbaths and feasts. His feast, his weekly Sabbath, his feast days. Verse 17. And if you will walk before me, just as your father David walked, and do according to all that I command you, and if you keep my statutes and my judgments, verse 18, then I will establish the throne of the kingdom just as I covenanted with David your father, saying, you shall never fail to have a man as ruler in Israel. Verse 19. Verse 19. This is what he says. However, if you turn away and forsake my statutes and my laws, which I have set before you, and you go and serve hindered gods, Elohim, and worship them. Verse 20. Here we go. Verse 20. Then I will uproot Israel from my land, which I've given them, and I will reject this house that I have consecrated for my name, and I will make it the subject of short, pointed sayings, and the object of sarcasm and ridicule among all people. Do you hear that? All people. This is what's going to happen. However, if you turn away, so there's something perpetual has taken place. So you're talking about all people to the four corners of the earth, where Yahweh said, I'm going to scatter you. He said, I'm going to scatter you. So we understand the 10 tribes. There's 10 scattered tribes. And then there's the house of Israel, Benjamin and Israel. They went into disobedience. So he said, I'm going to scatter you to the four corners of the earth. Yes, I'm going to scatter you. And what's going to take place? If you don't do this, if you don't follow or be obedient to my laws, my statutes, what's going to happen? He said, I will uproot Israel from my land, uproot, which I have given them, and I will reject this house, the house of Israel, the whole house of Israel. Are you hearing this? And I will that I have consecrated for my name, and I will make them the subject of short-pointed sayings and the object of sarcasm and ridicule among all people. No matter where you go, no matter where you go, people are going to talk about you. When you get there, people are going to already have the idea about you. They're going to have an idea of who you are. They're not going to know you. And so therefore, when you get there, they're going to have an idea of who you are. They're going to have an idea who you are. Are you in there? So in other words, all these things is being said before you even get there, before he even scattered. He said, you walk in disobedience, I'm going to uplift you, I'm going to uproot you, and you're going to be scattered. You will be scattered, and when you're scattered, and when you go, people are going to already know who you are. Oh my, oh my. So now, let's go to Psalms, okay? Let's go to Psalms. Let's go there. I just want to lay down some things, and we're going to get into some things. And as I said, there's a disclaimer. There's a disclaimer on some of the things I will be saying. Okay? Uh, let's go to Psalms 44. Okay? Psalms 44. And this is, you see, Yahweh knows the heart. And this is what it says. Psalms 44. And I'm going to read verse 13. Start at verse 13. And this is what it says. You made us a reproach to our neighbors. You made us a scorn and a derision to all those around us. Verse 14, you made us a proverb, an object of cutting remarks among the heathen, and a shaking of the head, an object of ridicule among the people. Verse 15, our dishonor is continually in our presence, and our shame has covered us. Are you hearing this? This is what Yahweh has done because of disobedience. Because of disobedience. Okay? Now let's go to Psalm 69, and let's begin to really connect some dots here. Psalm 69, verse 11. Okay, verse 11. This is one of the first times you hear the word byword. Verse 11. When we put on sackcloth, we became a byword, an object of ridicule to who? To them, the heathens. We became a byword. Byword. A byword. Okay? A byword. We became a byword. So let me go to Jeremiah right quick. And let's put on your seatbelt. Put on your seatbelt. Jeremiah chapter 24, Jeremiah to Psalm, chapter 24. Okay? Chapter 24. And verse 9. Well, let's see here. Let's start at verse 6 and go on down, okay? Start at verse 6. So I will set my eyes upon them for righteousness, and I will bring them again into this land, and I will build them and not pull them down. It's starting to sound different here. Started to sound a little bit different, okay? And not pull them down. And I will plant them and not pluck them up. Remember, he was talking about at one point, he's going to pluck them up, scatter them, and they're going to be a byword, they're going to be a proverb, they'll be an object of taunt, and all like this, the children of Israel. So he's speaking of what's going to take place, what's going to happen. Verse 7, then I will give them a heart to know me. A heart, not just the truth, but the spirit of the truth. He's going to give them a heart of what? Flesh. To know me. That I am Yahweh, and they will be my people, and I will be their father, for they will not return to me with they will return to me with their whole heart. Not half of the heart, but whole heart, wholeheartedly. They're going to serve Yahweh wholeheartedly. No mix, no mixture, but wholeheartedly, a heart of flesh. Verse 8. And like the bad figs, which cannot be eaten because they are so bad. Truly, this is what Yahweh says. So I will deal with Zadegah, king of Yada, and his officials, and the residue of Jerusalem, who remain in this land, and with those who dwell in the land of Egypt. Verse 9. I will deliver them to remove to be removed into all the kingdoms of the earth for their harm, to be a reproach, a proverb, a taunt, and a curse in all places where I will drive them. You hear that? In verse 10, and I will send the sword, the famine, and the pestilence among them until they are consumed from the land that I have given them and their fathers. What Yahweh said he's going to do, all this to harm them, for their harm, to be a reproach, a proverb, a taunt, and a curse in all places where I will drive them. Disobedience is no joke. There are things right now that people don't understand or don't realize because of perpetual disobedience. Born into sin and shaped in iniquity. Don't understand what is going on. But we need to connect the dots here. Let's connect the dots. I want to connect the dots just a little bit more. Now, let's kind of come up a little further here, because there are people who can connect to this, and let's connect some dots. We know about the Atlanta slave trade. We know about that. We know that the origin of Dahomey, where now the name now is Benin, Africa. The origin, because its name is changed to Benin, Africa, but it was called Dahomey. And so let's understand this. Everybody did come on the slave ship on the Atlanta slave trade. All blacks did not come. There were blacks already in the Americas, not the United States, but the Americas. Some people were already here. Yes. And at the same time, there were those who came on the ships. And you got to understand the homie, where they were at, and some people don't really understand the history of Dahomey, because it's a derivative of the tribe of Dan. The tribe of Dan. And anyone that know that the tribe of Dan was not mentioned among the 12, but Yahweh said they will be scattered in the 12 in that day, the tribe of Dan. But you got to understand the tribe of Dan. There was Dahomey. That's where when Yahweh said, I'm going to pluck them up and scatter them. I'm going to scatter. And different ones were different. So with the Atlantic trade, they were sending slaves here and there, all different places. And the tribe of Dan was one of the tribes that went into witchcraft. They did a lot of the rituals. All the 10 tribes, scattered tribes, that's what they did. And so we read more about Dahomey and the kings there. And they were called Futon people. They were called Futon. In other words, they were known as people of voodoo. Futon. Voodoo, which is witchcraft. And so now, You got to understand that in the Europeans, in terms of when the colonization, what did they do? Because you had two brothers that were kings that was there, and were they living in harmony? Not completely living in harmony, but they had their own kingdoms in their prospective places. They did. This is history. This is history that relates to biblical understanding, because these tribes went off in a mixture and they went into witchcraft, which we know that Yahweh was against when we read in the law and the Torah, against witchcraft. So the 10 scattered tribes, as they scattered, guess what? They took what they learned. They took what they learned with them. They had some of the law, and then they had the heathenism understanding, manipulation, witchcraft. They had all that mixture going on. They did. And so now, what's important is, so they was there because, not because of obedience, because of disobedience. Disobedience. And so it's interesting because what is important to understand where we're going with this is that now they're there. And so the Europeans learned of them, heard about them. How did they hear? The name proceeded past them. It went before them. And they became an object of taunt. Words were being said. Absolutely. Words were being said. Someone is asking where in what book and chapter and verse I can find. Okay, I will do that at some point about the tribe of Dan. Okay, I will do that. But I want you to understand that they will begin to be an object of what? Taunt. Their word, their reputation of who they are begin to perceive them. Why did it happen? Why did it happen? Why? Because of Yahweh. Disobedience. The 10 tribes. The tribe of Israel, the tribe of Benjamin, the northern and the southern tribes. And so the name begin to go forth and go out before the people. And so when they come to a nation, people already had their perceived thought on them and who they were. Already. So when they were traveling, or when they were type of refugees, if you will, scattered. And so when they go in, people looked at them and disregarded them as what? Nothing. Nothing. Yes, nothing. And so now that they begin to perceive that they're nothing. So let's come in to the Americas, or the United States of America. Let's come in, because there are things that we have heard about the indigenous people, black people. You've heard. And some of the things you've heard that we still deal with and don't realize that Yahweh is lifting that now. Yes, Yahweh is lifting that now. Because we've been the subject. What have we been the subject of? Reproach, proverbs, taunt, and the curse in all places where Yahweh scattered us. That's what we've been. That's what we've been. So let's deal with the area that a lot of us heard some history of slavery. When they came over and they into from the southern parts of the Americas, United States and East Coast, and you got all this stuff that was taking place. All this was taking place. And so when this was taking place, understand this, their words had gone out and proceeded. Yes. And of course, the slave masters, they had the different slaves, different ones. But they had to come with a better strategy because they was able to communicate, was able to telepathically speak with drum beatings. They was able to communicate with one another. So one of the things they started doing is mixing the tribes of people that didn't know each other, married couples and people together, mixing them up to confound the language so that they would not communicate properly. It's important because it is of Yahweh through disobedience. And so the word was they would here's a slave, and they would put them up to buy or what have you. And then you begin to hear one of the things that they had about the slaves, because the black people were able to be out in the sun for long periods of time. Why? Because of melanation. See, they couldn't be, the northerners could not be in the sun only because what? It would burn them up. It would cause cancer, and they didn't have no melanation. And yet, at the same time, what they were doing is saying about the men. When they were out there hours, and they want to put them out more, make them work, they would tell them, "You are lazy. You're lazy. You don't do nothing. You don't work hard." And understand, they're working from sun up to sundown, and yet telling them constantly, guess what? You're lazy. You're nothing. You're weak. They begin to talk about it. You're no good for nothing. I'm going to sell you, and I'm going to beat you because you're weak and you can't do anything. And so when they work to the point where they fall out and what have you. And so the word began to proceed. How is the word? The word began to perceive them. Black men are lazy. All black women do is have babies. And then you see they would take the man and they would remove the man or come and get the wife or the sister and impregnate them. Oh my. Yes, they did. And so So we, as we go proceed further, coming up into more modern times of where we're at. So we've heard and we spoke because they've said it so much. They've brainwashed us and said that black men are lazy. Black women just have babies, don't want to really do anything. They would be with all kind of men. And they begin to give names. Oh yes. Bywords. Understand this. They would say, you're stupid. That's a byword. You are dumb. That's a byword. Oh, somebody asked, am I still talking Torah? Yes, I am. I'm still talking Torah because the mind has been brainwashed. When you call someone stupid, when you call someone dumb, so why did we get into saying that? Because we begin to take on what the slave master said, and they programmed our mind to believe what they say who we are. And Yahweh said, I'm going to, because of disobedience, this is what I'm going to cause to happen. Are you lazy? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? But this is what they say you are. And what we've done is turn around and begin to do that with each other. I know I'm telling the truth. This is the truth. So we hear all kinds of things. We hear perpetual. The black man, you will never be nothing. The black man, you can't protect your wife. The black woman, oh, she's a whore. Yes, you've heard all of this. And where did it come from? It's still connected to ancient times through disobedience. And it deals with if you turn away from obedience, obeying his laws and commandments, his statutes. When you turn away from that, Yahweh said, these curses will come, your reputation will precede you, and people are going to have a preconceived thought that you are nothing. You can read Deuteronomy Chapter 28 from verse 15 all the way to verse 68. 68. And we have passed that along. We have taken on what they say who you are. And where did it come from? You will be shamed before all the people. And you have gone different places and have heard the ridicule and reproach upon our people. None of you all on this in the chat room or in this class, you're dumb or stupid. Well, people will look at you because they would say, "Oh, that's what they are." They'll get behind closed doors and say they're dumb, they're stupid, they're this and they're that. So now they'll sit back because of disobedience. We've taken on that spirit of what they said that who we are through disobedience, and we start doing that to one another. Somebody said black on black crime. You gotta understand, where did it come from? You got to understand the situations that we are in today is more prevalent today now because we're at the latter end is greater than the past on every level. The latter end is greater than the past. Yes, it is. So, so when I say, "Oh, you're stupid," or I'm not stupid, I'm not dumb, people go on. There are more bywords to that is see me calling you stupid because let's go back to when the slaves and the sons, the mothers and the sons, and what the slaves had the sons do with the mothers. Okay, now I could call you stupid, and some people get offended. That has a lot of power because it is a byword. It's a curse word. You see, we got to understand and identify. Oh, yeah, we hear a word that's oh he cussed, but call somebody stupid, you still cuss. It's a curse word. Same implication, same energy, same power. When you call someone stupid or dumb, now a person can do a stupid thing or do a dumb thing, but when you call them stupid, you're saying that's their lifestyle. That's who they are. So when you say that, it's a curse word. It's a curse word. So if you hear someone stupid, it has the same power and energy. So what I want to say, here's the disclaimer. Here's the disclaimer. Here's when in the slave during that time of slavery, and we got to understand how the spirit of incest came in because the slave owners made the mother's son have sex with their mothers. Are you hearing that? They made the sons have sex with their mothers. So whether they call the sons, they call the son a motherfucker. That's a byword. It's got the same energy as calling someone stupid. It's a curse word. Yes, motherfucker. Are you hearing this? Same energy. Now, you hear different words. That is a curse. It is a byword. It is a curse word. You hear the word bitch. It is a curse word. It's negative. What does that really mean? It is a female dog in heat. It's a byword that says it is a reproach of scorn and it's a taunt. It's a pointed word that this is who you are. And today they are said like it's nothing. And we have all kind of phrases and things that we say to each other now. See, we talk about black on black crime. You got to understand this been taking place long time ago in the Torah. Why? Why is it like that? Disobedience. So we categorize certain things and say that oh you cursing at me. But yet we categorize that, well, I'm not stupid, but it's the same. It's still cursing someone out. Same power, same energy. Yes. hmm So, and I said those things because you now know that words. Don't call your child stupid. Oh, you lazy. That's just as bad as motherfucker. You lazy. You sin, you putting that on him. You like your daddy and he's lazy. He don't want to do nothing and this and that and the other. Constantly, constantly, constantly. And he becomes exactly what you say. You will never amount to nothing. So where are we at today? Where are we at today? What is Yahweh doing? I just want to read a couple of more scriptures. Like I said, there was disclaimers. Just want to give you an idea. Okay? Joel, the prophets, I want to go to chapter 2 of Joel or Yarel. Okay, chapter 2. And I know that, some people might, ooh, he said that. Okay, well, then you hear it all the time. But if you call somebody dumb or stupid at some point being a believer, you still curse the person out. It's the same thing. It's no difference. It's no difference. You don't call your child stupid, dumb. You'll never amount to anything. You don't do that. You're cursing them out. Those are bad words. Uriel or Joel, chapter 2, and I want to start reading that verse 17. Okay? We got to understand Yahweh is doing some things. There's some things that Yahweh is doing in the earth, and we got to pay attention. We got to pay attention, and I'm going to read chapter 2, verse 17. That the priests, that the ministers of Yahweh, weep between the porches and the altar, between the porch and the altar, and let them say, spare our people, your people. Spare your people, O Yahweh. Do not give your inheritance to a reproach. Don't give your inheritance, who? The people, to reproach, that the heathens should rule over them. Why should they say among the people, hear that? Where is their mighty one? Where is the mighty one? Verse 18, then Yahweh will be jealous for his land and pity his people. Verse 19, yes, Yahweh will answer and say to his people, behold, I will send you and wine and oil, and you will be satisfied with them, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathens. This is what Yahweh is doing now. You got to realize that Yahweh is now taking the reproach. Judgment. Are you hearing me? He's judging the righteous and the unrighteous. Verse 20. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive him into a land barren and desolate, and with his face toward the eastern sea. You got to understand. And his back toward the western sea. His stench will come up, and his smell will rise, because he has done monstrous things. Verse 21. Fear not, O land. Be glad and rejoice, for Yahweh will do great things. Verse 22. Do not be afraid, O beasts of the field, for the pasture of the wilderness flourish, for the tree bears her fruit, and the fig trees and the vine yield their increase. Verse 23. Listen. Be glad then, O children of Zion, and rejoice in Yahweh your Father, for he has given you the teacher of righteousness. and will cause the rain to come down on you, the former rain in the autumn, and the latter rain the first moon. Yes, we coming into the latter rain, but he's going to give us both former and latter rain, spirit and truth. Verse 24, the threshing floor will be filled of wheat, and the vats will overflow with their new wine and oil. Verse 25, and I will restore to you the years the canker, the locust that has eaten, and the cankerworms, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. You got to understand. Verse 26, and you will eat in plenty, be satisfied, praise the name of Yahweh your Father, who has dealt wondrously with you, and my people will never be ashamed. Never be ashamed. Verse 19, yes, Yahweh answered say to his people, behold, I will send you grain, wine, and oil, and you will be satisfied with them, and I will no more make you a reproach among the heathens. He's going to restore. He's going to restore all that he sent. Then he's going to oppress the oppressor. You see, he's going to remove. He's going to remove all that who walk in righteousness, in spirit and truth. He's going to remove the reproach. Vindication has come. Judgment is here. And everything is being revealed. Stop being surprised at things that are happening. It's supposed to happen because judgment, we are in the morning cycle, transitioning from night to day. We are so the morning is revealing everything that has been in darkness. Judgment, the glory is revealing everything now. It's bringing everything to light. Everything. Yahweh, I'm going to bring balance. I'm bringing back balance now. I'm going to bring balance where husbands will protect their wives. Wives will protect their husbands, their children. He said he's going to do this in our obedience. And so what we see out here in the world and what have you, what you see in religion, what you see with the Hebrew Israelites, and folks are going through this and disobedience, Yahweh said this will happen in these last days. And I'm going to stop because I'm going to continue on the area of the bywords and go to another level of understanding. What is Yahweh doing? See, it's about connecting the dots and to be very clear and conscious of what is truly going on. Yes. So before you get into talking about Yahweh's people, be slow to speak. Yahweh's in his dwelling place. Be slow to speak, but to listen. What is Yahweh saying? Before you speak a word, and do you not know that people giving these prophetic words with bywords and curse words all in it? It's about loving with his perfect love now. Perfect love. Let me read something to you, and I'll be done for right now. Oh, yes. I want to. Did I accomplish what Yahweh wanted me to do? Yeah. Some people stirred up. Yes, you stirred up. Stirred up where I want you to do the research. Do the research. This is what 1 Corinthians chapter 13 says. 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. This is Paul's letter in response to a question that they had. He's given an answer. Verse 1. Though I speak with the languages of men and Malachams, but have not love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. Verse 2. Though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all deep secrets and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I can remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. Verse 3, and though I bestow all my possessions to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not love, it is no advantage to me. Verse 4, love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not jealous. Love is not boastful. Love, it is not puffed up with pride. Verse 5, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own advantage, is not provoked, become worked up in irritation, thinks no evil. Thinks no evil. Verse 6, does not rejoice in iniquities, but rejoice in the truth. Verse 7, does not betray, believe all things, hope all things, endure all things. Verse 8, love never fails, but where there are prophecies, they will be fulfilled, and where there be languages, they will cease. Where there is knowledge, it will be replaced with complete truth. Where there's knowledge, it will be replaced with complete truth. Complete truth, spirit and truth. Verse 9. For we know in part, we prophesy in part. So if you only know if you only know truth, you're going to prophesy based upon truth. If you only know spirit, you're going to prophesy based on spirit. You're going to prophesy in part. Verse 10, but when that which is perfect comes, perfect love, then that which is in part, imperfect, will vanish away. When you complete, then you're no longer a half glass full or a half glass empty. You will be a complete full glass, a mature person. So this is what he said, verse 11. When I was a child, I spoke as a child, and I understood as a child. I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. So in other words, when the glass is half empty and when the glass is half full, you're still immature because you only prophesy in part to where you're at. Are you listening to this? Verse 12. Now, now we are looking in a mirror that gives only a brute reflection. But then face to face with perfection. Now I know in part, but then I will know fully, even as I am now fully known. In the last verse. But now, these three things endure: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. 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 Someone said we never talked about the tribe of Dan. Yes, we did. It's just that you wasn't there. Yes. Okay? I want you to know. I want you to know. Okay? So if you want to discuss it, give me a call. Give me a call. Let's connect the dots. That's all I'm saying. So understand, when people come into class or don't come into class, there are things that you miss. Simple as that. Simple as that. So just want you to know that the dots you connect. What do I have to do with this? We're talking about bywords. Let's connect the dots. Bywords. Where's the origin? I read Deuteronomy chapter 28. Yahweh said. Someone said, well, what does that got to do with the Torah? Are we still in the Torah? Yes. We're still dealing with obedience. See, there's the Torah of teaching and instruction. That's what the Torah got. So the Torah means teaching and instruction. So what? Teaching what? What is that? Teaching the law. The law is the instruction and teaching the law in spirit and truth. Very important. Very important. That we not walk in disobedience, because if we walk in disobedience, you're still going to be the object of ridicule and reproach. Y'all say, I'm ready. I'm taking the reproach off. I'm lifting it. It's lifted. So if Yahweh is taking the reproach and all this away and everything, so do that give you the right to continue to walk in disobedience? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. If he lifts us off, he said, now walk in obedience. When you walk in obedience, you won't be under that anymore. I'm lifting it away. That's why I read in Joel those verses. Mm-hmm. And so, let's see here. Zechariah chapter 8. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 13. Verse 13. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 13. And this is what it says. And as you were a curse among the heathen, O house of Yada and the house of Israel, so will I save you, and you will be a blessing. Do not fear, let your hands be strong. No longer a curse. No longer a curse. Yahweh is going to do some things. Yahweh is doing some things now. Let me read on. Okay, verse 14. For this is what Yahweh of hosts says. Just as I plan to punish you when your forefathers provoked me to wrath, says Yahweh of hosts, and I did not relent. Verse 15. So again have I planned in these days. What days? These days now, to do well to Jerusalem and to the house of Yahweh, fear not. Verse 16, and these are the things you are to do. What? Speak the truth, that which is written in the law and the prophets, every man to his neighbor. Execute judgment of truth and peace in your gates. Verse 17, and let none of you imagine or think or devise evil in your heart against his neighbor, and not to love to vow false oaths. For all these things I hate, says Yahweh. Verse 18, and the word of Yahweh of hosts came to me, saying, verse 19, this is what Yahweh of hosts said, fast in the fourth moon, which is coming up very soon. Yahweh's new year coming up. Fast in the fifth moon, fast in the seventh moon, and the fast in the 10th moon will become to the house of Yahweh times of pleasure and gladness, joyous feasts. Therefore, love truth and peace. So there's things that he said do. Verse 20, this is what Father Yahweh of hosts says. This is what Yahweh of hosts says. There will yet come people, the inhabitants of many cities. Verse 21, and the inhabitants of one city will go to another, saying, let us go at once and pray before Yahweh, to seek Yahweh of hosts, and I will go also. Verse 22, yes, many people and strong nations will come to seek Yahweh of hosts of Jerusalem and to pray before Yahweh. And verse 23, this is what Yahweh of hosts says. In those days, 10 men out of all languages of the nation will take hold of the zikzit on the talit of him who is a Yada, saying, we will go with you, for we have heard that Yahweh is with you. Okay. All right. We're going to be nice. Okay, I figure I'll read it with someone on my own time. Thanks. Okay. Yes. With that being said, I want to bless you with Yahweh's name. Numbers chapter 6, verse 23 through 27. Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, this is how you are to bless the children of Israel. Say to them, Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be merciful to you. Yahweh lift his countenance upon you and give you peace. So they will put my name on the children of Israel, and I will bless you. And I want to say to each and every one of you, thank you. And if I provoke you to study and to dig deeper, then I accomplished what I wanted to do. Provoke you to obedience. Don't use bywords. Don't use curse words to your children, to one another. Yahweh has lifted this. Walk in obedience to enjoy the pleasures of Yahweh. Say to you, let this evening continue to enjoy you and your family. Shalom, shalom.